Look it, look it, look it, look it, look it. Cool little video I just came across here. I've heard before that the United States spends more on its defense spending than the next 14 to 15 of the other highest nations, I guess you could say. So working on it here, trying to give my YouTube channel a shot at doing some lives. Been doing some research on some lives. I've had some other people ask me to start doing lives, so that's what I'm gonna give it a shot doing here. So I thought this would be a good topic to bring up after I saw what's going on in the news. So the story is that the United States spends several times more on defense spending than the other top 14 or 15 spenders. And what I've heard before, I hadn't verified the numbers, so don't hold me to this and don't start sending me hate mail if the numbers are a little off, okay? All right, chill out. But what I've heard is that of those top 14 or 15 nearest spenders under the United States, that 10 of them are close allies. So, it's an interesting thing. And so I came across this video. I thought it was interesting. See, keep in mind they're starting in 1949, which was about three, maybe 4 years after the end of World War II. I say 3 or 4 years. World War II ended in like 46. So it just depends on what month these numbers coincide to. But we're talking about a social media GIF video, whatever. So who knows? But we're starting in 1949, and the U.S. was at 14,591,000. 591,000. And that's in current prices, according to this video. I don't know. I hadn't done the digits, but the actual numbers are not really going to matter to my point that I'm going to make, because I have a point. I've had people before say, dang, you go through a whole bunch of stories, and you get me to wondering what in the damn hell shit's dang talking about. And then in the last 5 minutes of your little exposition, you tie it all in, and it all makes sense. And it's my superpower, I guess. But anyway, so there's 14,000 in 1949. Has the UK at 3,000, France at, that would be, when it says 14,591, I guess if you did the math, I'm a public school student, that would actually be 14 billion, because it says in millions of USD. So I guess if that's 14,000 million, that'd be 14 billion, wouldn't it? I'm a public school graduate, so you work with me here. So I guess the 3,059 for the UK would actually be 3 billion. And then 1.2 billion for France. Keep in mind, these two folks were receiving Marshall Plan by that time because World War II had just ended. See, Italy started out as an Axis and then moved over and became sort of an ally. So they were at 488 million. Greece, 209 million. The Netherlands at 235 million. So, and there's Turkey, Belgium, Spain. Anyway, so let's see how it goes along here. 1952. Let's see here. You see there's the UK, Poland. I don't typically think of Poland as being a aggressive military power, but there's Germany coming up. See, we're in 1976 now. Germany and Poland are kind of going back and forth there. Keep in mind at this time, Poland was a part of the USSR in 1976. They were at least a Russian puppet state, if not an actual Soviet republic. Germany at, what would that be, 14 billion? Let me see. Yeah, 14 billion. The UK has come up by 76 to 13 billion. But look at the United States up there. Yeah, we're at $97 billion by 1976. We were in the midst of the Cold War. At this time, I would have been 5 years old, probably. Iran down there at 7.2 billion. They would still have been under the Shah of Iran in 1976. They had about 2 years left to go. under the Shah. Japan at 5.2 billion. Keeping in mind Japan in 76, like most of these states, but Japan specifically, in the treaty that ended World War II, they were prohibited from having a military that could export force. All they can have is like a security force, kind of like a security guard at Walmart. In the United States and its allies agreed to protect Japan. And there's Italy down there at 4 billion, 1976. So we're getting on into the 80s. Here's the Reagan years. You can watch that defense spending. It's going to climb for the Reagan years. I guarantee you, speak softly and carry a big stick. I know that wasn't Reagan. That was Teddy Roosevelt. But Reagan did believe in, peace through strength, displaying strength. And you'll notice there the 26,000 for the UK. It's going to start going up here in a minute because of Mrs. Margaret Thatcher. So it's going to go up. None of these people are ever going to reach the level of the United States. So here we are in 94. We're at almost 300 billion. Japan is coming up some, France, UK. You'll notice, all right, here we are in 2003, and we are going way up. It's almost doubled since the 90s. But you'll notice the U.S. never comes off of that top slot. Yep. And there we go. So 2021, and I know we're at 2026, so it was 5 years ago. The U.S. was at 800 billion. China, of course, has come on the scene a good bit since the 90s. 293 billion. India's at 76 billion. And then UK, Russia, France, Germany, Saudi Arabia, and Japan. They're all down there, and much lesser. So I have, over the years, engaged with a lot of progressives, liberals, and that sort of stuff who have, as I was saying earlier, they come out and they say, well, the United States needs to spend more on social programs because of other Western nations, which is primarily what we're looking at on this chart here. Other Western nations, they don't spend nearly as much on the military, and instead they spend a lot of money on social programs. Sure do. And so that's what they say. We can look here at Encyclopedia Britannica. I just looked it up here just as an idea. You know what? Let's go look at this. Ain't that amazing? See, over here, it tells us all about Denmark. And it tells us all about how the Danes, which I think is really amazing, that there's an entire country over there, and all of its citizens have my name. They're just a country full of Danes. It's a beautiful thing. Could you imagine it? It'd be wonderful. It says here, Danes on the whole enjoy an excellent health. Aggressive public health programs are directed against the threats of infectious diseases. Public health nurses provide free advice and assistance to mothers, which, with good nutrition and housing, has contributed to a low infant mortality rate. The vast majority of the cost of the healthcare system is paid for by national and local authorities and employers. Yep, choose between two primary healthcare options. It goes right on down. Denmark's comprehensive social welfare system offers unemployment, disability, old age, survivorship benefits at virtually no charge to all Danes. According to the Danish Constitution, it's written into their Constitution, folks. Any person unable to support himself or his dependents shall, with no other person is responsible for his or their maintenance, be entitled to receive public assistance. The state welfare programs of Denmark should not be thought of as institutional charity, even though it actually is. They are recognized both legally and in public opinion, and you know public opinion is what really matters, as morally just social rights that have been paid for by taxes and assessments. They get free university education and all of that. And yet here we are. And Mr. Trump, I'm personally not in favor of him doing this, but he's dead set on getting Greenland. So he's offering to buy Greenland from Denmark. But he has also said on several occasions that if they don't sell it, that he is not beyond rolling in the U.S. military, that $800 billion that was being spent in 2021. No idea what it is nowadays. $800 billion in 2021. It's liable to be above $1 trillion now. I guess I should have looked up that number. That he's not above using that $1 trillion U.S. military to come take it, sell it to us, or Trump's going to take it from you. With that military that you don't have, Denmark, because you've been busy paying for college educations and health care and housing and universal income and so on and so forth, so that your country full of Danes, that they have the highest level of happiness in the West. I guess Denmark does. Whenever I hear these liberals and other progressives talking about the happiness index, I don't even know how they measure happiness. I don't even know why happiness is considered an important metric. I mean, the best way to make an alcoholic happy is give him a fifth of whiskey, or a pint of whiskey, or a handle, whatever. If whiskey makes him happy, drinking himself to death, but at least he's happy. But it's these nations that are up there in the area of Finland and Norway and Holland and Denmark and so on and so forth that are always touted as the beacon of hope and happiness because of their social safety networks with the free health care and the free housing and the free education and the free food and on and on and on and on. But you know what you can't do? What you can't do is you can't fight off a bomber or the cavalry or infantry or tanks or drones and stuff. I guess they can throw their free university education or their diabetes drugs that they got for free. I guess they could throw that at the drones, maybe defend Greenland with their free public housing. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.